Welcome to Horton Implants Oral Bites with your hosts, Kate Bootman, Will Murphy, and Carl Horton.
You're just worried that Shane's going to put you on the... Oh, right, yeah.
Well, hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome back to this week's webinar. Hope you're all well and that you're looking forward to a fantastic weekend. You'll see on the panel, we have the normal troublesome twosome in the form of Mr. Will Murphy and Mr. Carl Horton. How are you doing, gentlemen?
All good. Good, thank you very much.
And you will also see, and we're absolutely thrilled to say that we're joined by Shane, the Sales and Development Manager from Activecampaign, and we're going to come to that in a moment. But good evening, Shane.
Good evening, Kate. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. And obviously, I'm not going to steal your thunder. Lovely Irish accent, so we know that you're in Ireland. But we're going to save all of that if that's okay. And Carl Horton, we're going to come straight to you, young man.
Okay.
Tell us about your week.
That. Young. Not feeling young today, actually. Feeling tired today. Yeah, good week, travelling around. So trying to think, over at Telford, Wellington, Carlton Chambers, placing some implants there, and then Wales, placing some implants there.
Can I help you?
Yeah, you probably can. And then over at Malvern, placing some implants there.
Bewdley.
And then where? Where was that?
Bewdley.
Bewdley, yeah. Well, Bewdley was today, and that was to fit the full arch bridges. The two cases just happened to coincide together. So that was lovely to see the final ones. And for those, and Shane, just so these are dental implants that we do. And sometimes when someone's lost all their teeth, we give them back their whole smile. And that's what we did today. They've been wearing like a temporary, which is really nice. It works, but we got to kind of fine tune that today for two lovely ladies. And put the permanent ones in, and hats off to both. It was two different labs actually, and hats off to the technicians because they just looked fantastic. Absolutely, and both ladies were absolutely over the moon. There was
give the technicians a shout.
So that was Danny at DSD and Garen and Phil at Dental Excellence. So Danny Cleary and absolutely, hats off. I mean, amazing work, so well done, lads. Just beautiful. And yeah, it was just really nice to see. It's quite a rewarding, really. It does change their lives. So, it was quite an emotional moment for both of the ladies, really. But yeah, it's nice. It gives you a nice fit. It gives you that warm kind of tummy feeling.
Little glow.
Yeah, that little glow. It's all worth it.
That brick you've got, are you telling me it's not a brick?
That ice cold,
rock
hard heart of
yours. It does melt
just a tiny bit.
Just a tiny bit, yeah. I do thaw
just one drop.
Very momentarily, yeah. And then back straight to my normal grumpy self. Yeah.
Oh, no, it is lovely, the cases like that. I mean, especially the one today, I must say, was extremely emotional in a very good way, and sort of struggled to speak, but the biggest smile in the world, smile.
And then tiny little things. This is where Shane's going to help out, I think, really, because we are building the courses. So we've sorted out the CBCT course, and that's online now with Dental Juice, that side of it anyway. So people can log on to that. That's with Giles Perrier. So if you really like my Dorset towns, you can log on and listen to me talking about CBCT. So that's more of a refresher course for those people that do that. And then getting the nurses implant course so that they can log in online and go through the stages of being certified for dental implants.
Have you done all your voiceovers?
I've done the CBCT voiceovers, and I've done the videos. And blimey, that's hard work.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what?
You'll be taking over from James Corden with like Peter Rabbit.
If it's kind of, if you just want to if you're an insomniac and you just want to fall asleep, yeah, it's because I do kind of go into
get those sleep podcasts, can't you? Where somebody speaks very slowly, and I'm sure yours isn't like that. Yours is going to be
So
Booming.
Well recovered, Will. Well recovered.
Thanks, yeah. But we're looking obviously then to market that and get the news out there, which will lead maybe nicely onto when Shane's going to chat.
Oh, nice. Good segue.
Thanks.
Busy week. What about you, Mr. Murphy? How's your week been?
Full. Done a full 5 days. I know. I had a full head of hair when I started on Monday, and
no wonder you're feeling hot.
I know. And plus, I've just mown the lawn as well, so my hands are all covered in stuff. And then run upstairs. Like, oh no, it's the usual thing I do when it's one of these.
We imagine, Will.
And also, I've got a week off. Hey, so
very
going
nice.
on holidays, and it's like when you have a week off, like everything's got to be fitted.
Yes.
Then emergencies have been crammed in and bits and pieces like that, on the final day. So it's been pretty hectic. So yeah, lots of placements and things, and fitted lots of implant crowns and bridges, and yeah, nobody cried. Everyone just went, "Oh yeah, thanks very much." looks like a tooth. Oh, thanks. I was just like, all right, you could at least weep a little bit and pretend it's changed your life. Yeah, exactly. So never mind. There you go. So yeah, that's been my week. So just looking forward to having a week off and not seeing any teeth.
I was actually trying to think where I was.
Yeah, well, I'll probably get some calls.
Yeah. Well, give me a shout, mate. I'm around.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you very much.
It was Liberty Place. So sorry, Liberty Place. I was trying to remember where it was Tuesday, and it was Liberty Place. And the reason that I forgot about it is because I had to take Seb, my little boy, with me and sit him in the little pod. So he was sort of isolating on his phone with eating cheese and onion crisps and other food that just starts to permeate through the practice.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely love it.
Very well
Lovely
behaved.
Liberty Place.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Sam there. Hey, Sam. Yeah. Fantastic. Well, boys, I'm glad you've been busy. I would hate to think that you've had too much idle time. Shane, honestly, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know we had a little chat off air earlier, and Carl and I know obviously a bit about Activecampaign, but we would absolutely love it if you could share what Activecampaign is with all of us, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So Activecampaign, it's a CX platform. So we help over 150,000 customers in 170 countries and meaningfully connect with their customers. The platform gives businesses of all sizes access to 600 pre-built automations that combine with email marketing, marketing automation, and CRM for powerful segmentation and personalization across social, email, messaging, chat, and text. Over 70% of our customers use over 870 different integrations, such as Microsoft, Shopify, Square, Facebook, Salesforce. And in terms of kind of the automation part, that's typically your SMS, social, chat, text, etc. So yeah, the company's been going. Actually, we're actually one of the longest standing marketing automation platforms out in the market at the moment. It was actually founded back in 2003 in Chicago by our CEO Jason Vanderboom. So we have been going for quite a while. We started off as an on-premise solution, and back in 2013 we moved over to the cloud, and that's where we really started to see the platform scale. All the way up until now, we have offices in Chicago, Sydney, Brazil, and Dublin, which I'm currently located at the moment, which is our EMEA HQ.
That's fantastic.
So I heard lots of words like platforms and bits, stuff that as a bit of a Luddite, may well have gone over my head. So what's your typical customer? And when they pick up the phone, presumably knowing nothing about things like that, and they ask you for help promoting them, what sort of lead us through who your customers tend to be, where they come from, and what you do for them?
Yeah, good question. So we don't have any one vertical that makes up 20% of our customer base. And that was unintentional. We want to be a platform that can be available for all different industries. But to give you a bit of a visualization in terms of how the platform works, if you can think of, say, the likes of, I don't know, Spotify, Amazon, Netflix, if you can think of the personalized experience that you get from those platforms, at Activecampaign, we believe is not just these large global corporates that should be able to give that type of customer experience. We believe whether you're a one-man band or you're a dental practice or you're an e-commerce, whatever you are, regardless of what that size, you should be able to offer that experience to your own contact base. But like I'd love to run through, probably more relevant is maybe dental practice. Carl, I know you mentioned that you're doing some courses, so I might be able to maybe give an example in terms of a use case, I think, which could be relevant.
Yeah.
So Carl, in terms of the courses that you're doing at the moment, would you have, I suppose, one demographic, or do you have multiple demographics in terms of what courses they'd be looking at?
Yeah, we have slightly different, similar demographics, but they are different. So, for example, we would run a course that would be targeted at dental nurses, and then we'd be running another course that would be targeted at dentists or dental professionals. So the two, although they're in the same field, they are two different bodies essentially, in terms of how the course works.
And in terms of contacts that you have in your database, how are you currently segmenting that at the moment?
Yeah, they're all that we're not. not very easily. So it was previously done on sort of the Excel spreadsheets and just using that. So this is where we've looked into Activecampaign and how that can help us and sort of help us kind of target with the emailing automations as well. And for us, what I was looking at originally was the practices as a reminder, an autoresponder, and you were recommended to us from a colleague that was using you in a different. It was property, actually. They were property marketing, and we were talking about what we were looking for as a solution regarding the emails. And they said, "Have you looked at Activecampaign?" And that's and where we are now, really. But yeah.
Actually, so it sounds like you have your contact base segmented through an Excel. If you were to go live with Activecampaign, you could import that database into Activecampaign. Then from there, we can start to segment. But it's not just email, so we could very simply just start sending out kind of like an email blast. But you could start to put them into like different automations. So whether they're looking at, say, course A or course B, and based on the data you have on them. So we can collect that data in a number of ways. That could be maybe through a form on your website. We can even collect data through site and event tracking. So let's say, for example, if someone goes onto your website, you're looking at course A, we can set up an automation where we align a tag to that prospect. And then once you start to send them out emails, we already know, because they've been looking at course A, that we're going to start to send them information about course A. But that could be through email. We have an integration through Facebook, so we can start targeting through social media. And that could be through SMS. And what's really exciting about automations is that the possibilities are literally endless. Like we have a very intuitive automation builder, which I think is one of the biggest selling points around Activecampaign. You don't need to be a professional marketer and working in a marketing agency. We work with all different types of professionals. You don't do marketing as a full-time job. It's drag and drop. We have a lot of pre-built recipes for lots of different industries where you can find out kind of what other industries similar to yourselves are doing. You can copy their automations and then iterate upon them.
So are you working with a database that your customer gives to you, or are you looking to bring in fresh data from marketing campaigns?
Yeah, good question. So we would be an inbound marketing platform. So essentially, anyone that's using Activecampaign, they would have to have given consent to receive marketing communication. However, we do have tools which we call lead magnets. So say if somebody lands on your site, whether that could be maybe like an automated chatbot. So let's say, for example, Carl, someone lands on your website and you could either be online there behind the chat and maybe answering questions about some of the courses, or you could have a chatbot there with pre-built answers. When somebody asks a question, that automatically gives them answers to those questions. So we can use that chatbot to essentially get contacts into your database.
And can you get data capture through the website? So say you offered a free download on implants or something, and by inputting their data, then that person goes onto the database, and you target your campaign around them and their answers.
Yeah, exactly. So we call that a lead magnet. So that's what a lot of companies do. Say, right, if you sign up to, I don't know, such and such program or download such and such article, you can send or receive marketing communication. Then from there, with Activecampaign, we call it a trigger. So trigger being contact has signed up, you get them into an automation, you start to get them into a sequence.
Okay.
So Shane, with the chat box that you just mentioned on a website, did I understand you correctly that instead of somebody being at the other end of it, as in a human, let's just say at our end for argument's sake, answering the questions, are there ways that they're templated answers? So I take it they pick up on keywords from a question from a patient, for example.
Yeah, good question. So this is all built out in automation. So based on kind of keywords, sentences, you can say, okay, if prospect A puts in such and such question, this is the answer that we're going to give them. But we can also use that as a lead magnet as well. So maybe if an answer isn't available, say, okay, put in your details here. We get them opted in. That goes into the system. We also do some sales automation as well. We can bring them into your database, and then we can automate maybe a task being added to maybe somebody on your team who has a follow-up action to get back to that prospect.
Yeah,
it's incredible stuff. It's powerful, really powerful.
It's really amazing what you can do. But there's the other side of the platform as well, which would be the machine learning. So let's say, for an example, if you're a business and you have maybe hundreds of leads that you'd work in a monthly basis, we have something called win probability. So if you can think of, say, site and event tracking data, responses to emails, maybe link clicks, opening of emails, whatever that is, once you have a certain amount of closed won deals in the system, we can start to look in terms of trends and in terms of deals that are in your database in terms of a win probability percentage. So if you're looking to, okay, where do I prioritize my time in terms of if you're a sales rep, Activecampaign can kind of do the groundwork for you and let you know, okay, who you should be targeting.
See, that's really clever, isn't it? That's very clever.
You're saying when Kevin pops up on Auto Trader and says, "Hi, I'm Kevin. Can I answer questions?" It's not really Kevin.
Well, the thing is, you have the option, so you can have agents that are there live, but maybe out of hours, you put on your chatbot.
It's like finding out that Tooth Fairy.
No, don't you say it.
Can we cut that bit? Live.
That's just ruined his weekend finding out Kevin isn't a carrot, perhaps. I don't know.
I mean, we looked at using it with this. We really early on, Shane, when we started using this platform, we were using it to provide information about the sort of the COVID criteria and practices, so they could understand. So rather than the individuals having to go and find the information, we were kind of talking about it and hopefully helping some of the practices out there and the staff that are involved in getting back to work again. That was the whole premise of what we did. And we ran some quite in-depth courses. So we had lots of people on there. And again, that database started to clock up. And again, it was the audience differed. So some of the audience were support staff. Some of the audience were practice owners, some of the audience were associates, and some of the audience were academics. And the way they integrated with that, we could have used Activecampaign to help. We didn't use it at the time, but I noticed that you can integrate that in the webinar jam. So it's little things like that you can take out and help sort of target the people that you want to communicate with. And I think that's the fantastic part of it, is the powerful way in that you can, rather than blanketing everybody, the way that you can select those people that is exactly what you were talking about there with the courses that they may be interested in. Rather than, though, it then creates less of that spam effect on the emails, I think, and it keeps them interested in what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like we call that deliverability. Like if people are getting content that's not relevant to them, it's going to be unread, it's going to be reported as spam, and you're really damaging as a business your sender reputation. And if your sender reputation can get damaged, it just means you have a high volume of emails going into the spam folder. So that's something like we really look at in Activecampaign. We have a deliverability team in-house, so we monitor the performance of all of these different companies' campaigns, how to perform, their open rates, click-through rates, and we also have in-house expertise in terms of maybe some from onboarding and some from our account management team, with the objective of making sure that businesses stay with this high deliverability standard.
Do you think there's I mean, when we're talking with our patients, so this is a totally different database that maybe Will was thinking about with the chatbots. Do you think there's sort of a market there for dental practices to kind of talk to their patients about maybe some of the offers they're doing? And so if they're doing whitening offers, and if they're doing, it could analyze that as well. So you could look at your sort of your age group as well and target those patients for those offers. And then again, I mean, Will and I, we do quite a lot of implants, and the demographics might be slightly different for that. So we can sort of specifically target the patients that it doesn't, you know, it sounds a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know really. But it's not something I think as a dental practice that we're used to doing. We tend to blanket all of our patients with the emails. I don't know about you, Will, but that's where it tends to happen. Rather than use tools to be specific.
Yeah, I think generally they do. My son is sort of dabbles a little bit with this sort of stuff, and he's done a little bit of that for me. So I've got a sort of bit of a grasp on that kind of the general principles of it. You know, having things being tailored to, like you said, certain groups within your database and that kind of thing. So yeah, I've got a sort of an idea on that. But again, I think like you, we're pretty sort of blanket based really, and probably a lot of dental practices are.
Yeah, there's an opening for you there, Shane.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's exactly the experience that we're trying to that we're trying to get customers to take on board when they join Activecampaign. And that data, it can be easily collected. It could be collected maybe through a form. Maybe when they opt in, there's a form that they fill out where they specify in terms of, are they looking at cosmetic dentistry or whatever that is, or teeth whitening, etc. Or even we could even collect that data based on maybe the pages that they're looking on your website. So if somebody is looking at teeth whitening, we tag them so we know, okay, only people have been looking at teeth whitening. We're going to send them this email, or we're going to have maybe, say for example, if you guys maybe sent out like a newsletter, you can have what's called conditional content. So maybe the first part of the newsletter is relevant to maybe teeth whitening, but the remainder of the newsletter is the same for everyone else. So you can still have a mass communication, but keep it tailored at the same time based on your audience.
Okay.
What I will say as well, I mean, I think things may have changed a little bit, but I'm like Will, I'm a little bit of a Luddite in terms of how these things work and how to set these things up. But when you log into the Activecampaign and you start to use it, it's quite simple to use. It's, you know, you've got a very easy walkthrough path for what you're trying to achieve. So you kind of select what you want, and then it walks you through. And I must admit, your support when someone like me doesn't quite get it right and needs a bit of help is very good. Yeah, you know, so you're very helpful with that because I think from coming in and not knowing anything about how this works, I think it really is fairly straightforward. It's like, you know, A, B, C, D, and E, and then you get what you're trying to achieve. And I think that was very good. I did like that, or I do like that.
Yeah. So
I think that's. Go on.
Sorry, Kate, go ahead.
No, I was just picking up. I agree. I think the aftercare support is paramount for people out there. If especially when I say they're not sure what they're doing, they may, as Will's just said, if he's got a son that dabbles in it, that's great. But there's a lot of people that don't even dabble. So to have that aftercare as well, I think that's a gold nugget.
Yeah, absolutely. The support function is absolutely huge. Like especially the majority of our user base or who use Activecampaign, as I said, they're not professional marketers. A lot of them they've never done this before. So I do think the platform is quite intuitive. But with some of our plans, we do offer one-to-one support. So you can have a number of sessions per month where you speak to a person, they'll run through your account, they'll provide you training, but they'll also provide with some of that strategic support as well. So you might have a kind of a vision in your mind in terms of, okay, actually I envisage this what our sequence is going to look like. But these guys kind of day in and day out, like they're working with a lot of different businesses and different industries, and they can really share best practices in terms of kind of what's working best.
Yeah.
So you talk about email campaigns, and I guess we've all become very used to sort of GDPR and rules and things like that at the moment. So in terms of that, do people have to opt in, or can people opt out?
Yeah, great question. So Activecampaign, we are an inbound marketing platform. So you are only able to send marketing communication to anyone who's explicitly said that they agree or they consent to receive communication. But on the flip side of that as well, as a standard, each contact does have the option to unsubscribe. So they can maybe unsubscribe for maybe a certain marketing communication, or they can unsubscribe altogether.
And does the law only hold if those communications are coming from, say, within the UK? So if you're getting, obviously, we'll all get spam or stuff from all over the world. Do different rules apply for where the campaign is coming from?
I wouldn't be able to comment on that, unfortunately. I don't know the full GDPR law inside out.
Okay.
I guess.
Go on, Will. There's a platform there to make it up, really. Go on, Will. Go on.
So you just
in
spam everybody from the US or something, isn't it? So obviously, everybody. You look in your spam folder for things that have gone awry. You just see a whole world of different languages and things like that.
You do.
Yeah.
It's a good question, though. I think it's interesting, isn't it? Does their law apply if you're here? Is that what your question is? So does our GDPR apply if it's somebody from the US?
It's that sort of thing, really. Because obviously, we've all become much more aware of it with our policies and things, and that all practices seem to have, which we probably didn't even think about. Once upon a time, it was either send out emails or letters.
Shane, I mean, I would have thought that before we had the GDPR coming in, that you would have had the unsubscribe feature there previously, and you had the opt-in, I would imagine, before GDPR. So the only problem, I'm just saying this out loud now, but the only difference really is that the GDPR consent button and then that's done by the user, I would imagine, rather than yourself, so that you can out with. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of GDPR, if the contact, if they explicitly consent to receive marketing communication, and they should be GDPR compliant. Yeah,
and because I've seen that because your platform is like the third party side of it. So example for this, when we've done the courses on this, they have to consent to receive the emails, and then that's where you guys take over with that consent then, and that data is passed over to the Activecampaign side of things, and then they start getting the emails. But if they switch off, then you guys will do that, and then they stop getting the is that
absolutely. Absolutely. So we, at the bottom of every email, there's an unsubscribe button. So if anyone at any time, if they want to stop receiving emails or go through a certain automation, there's an option where they can unsubscribe. Once they click that, we will automatically turn them off on the database.
Yeah, but they won't, because they'll just love the content that we're sending out. So,
absolutely. I don't think
why we're discussing it.
I don't think you guys have to worry about that.
Shane, can I ask as well, during lockdown, did you see more activity on Activecampaign? And by that, I mean, you know, the small businesses, the dental practices, right at the beginning of the first lockdown, they obviously had a lot more time to concentrate on their business. So did your sort of guys and girls get a lot busier during lockdown?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, like at the start of lockdown, to be honest, we really didn't know what was gonna happen. I think we're in an industries where we're quite fortunate where we didn't really get affected. A lot of businesses that maybe didn't have an online presence, really to survive, were forced to have an online presence. So yeah, we've had some of our highest monthly revenues from during the pandemic, and we significantly increased the size of our customer base. But it's really rewarding as well, like just having these conversations with these small businesses, working out these strategies in terms of, okay, how are we going to move your business online, work with you guys from a marketing strategy, and keep your business generating revenue.
Yeah, I mean, some of the small businesses, bless them, you know, and I think we all probably know some, they never made it through, so it's terrible for them. But others, obviously, very actively, you know, tried to do more about it. Like you've just said, you know, online presence, they had more time to focus on their business. So, you know, it's not always the sad stories that we do hear. I think some businesses have really done well through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like this, like especially like things like e-commerce, like some of them have absolutely thrived through the pandemic. You look at Amazon, like their stock price has skyrocketed because like everybody's going online. So like if like kind of companies who kind of switched online and pivoted that way, there's some that have definitely thrived through the pandemic.
How would
you
somebody
say Amazon?
Sorry, Kate. How would somebody come and find out about your business?
Yeah, so the website is activecampaign.com. Anyone can go on to the website, and we do a free 14-day trial. So that trial gives you access to what's called our professional plan. You can evaluate the platform, and then based on that, if anyone wants to sign up, we also have a team in-house. I manage the business development team, so it'll be someone on my team that they be engaged with. And we do both monthly plans, and we also do yearly plans as well. So monthly plans, you're free to upgrade, downgrade, cancel whenever you want. We don't lock people in, and we're quite a price competitive on the market as well. Our entry level plan starts from $9 per month.
And do you do
I think
do you do some of
key.
the content? Sorry, Kate. Do you do some of the content and the copy?
Sorry, you wouldn't mind just repeating that question, Will?
Yeah. Do you do the content and the copy for the communications?
So we do have a free data migration service. We have different levels. So if you do have, say, data or maybe say content from maybe a previous platform, and we will migrate it into Activecampaign for free. We do have we do have an email design service as well, which can be purchased as an add-on as well.
Sometimes that
I think
can
that's
be half
a good
the,
thing.
Yeah, because it can be sometimes sitting down writing a copy or an email, you know, for each category. Do we have time for that? You know, sometimes you just don't have time on top of everything else you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. But we do have an email template builder. So like we've lots of different templates you can use. There's literally hundreds out there. Like it's quite intuitive. Like it's all drag and drop. You don't need to write HTML or anything to build out an email on the platform. And they all look quite professional.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, gentlemen, I am afraid unless you've got any more questions, we have reached that magical time of the evening yet again. I'm awfully sorry.
Yeah, if you do need someone to do your copy, Will.
Are you the man? Are you the script writer and the voiceover?
Oh yeah, the whole lot.
Wasted in dentistry. You need to go to the movies, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Oh goodness. Carl Horton, Will Murphy, thank you very, very much as always. Shane, a massive thank you from the three of us. Honestly, I don't think this will be the only time we ask you to come on. So if you would, I'm sure we would love you to come back on and join the panel, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys, and I enjoyed the conversation.
We might let Kate ask some questions next time as well.
I got the questions I wanted answered, so we're all right, gentlemen. We're all right. Everybody out there, we hope you found it interesting. We certainly have. Carl, as you know, spoke to Shane about how you can contact Shane. The details will be on our Facebook page. So please give this gentleman a call or one of his team, because they really, really are good. Gentlemen, all of you, thank you very, very much. Have a lovely weekend. Shane, thank you again.
Cheers. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Good night. Bye.
Bye-bye.